How's it guys, Munash here, back with more Alliance War. Third war of season 24, and man oh man, this war got me so frustrated. Like towards the end, I don't think I've ever been so mad after doing a war fight before, which you'll see a bit later. So today I'm going with Dr. Doom, as I often do, along with Warlock, who is pretty popular in my attacking roster right now, and also Hyperion, who's a champ I don't always get to use in war. But lately I've been finding some uses for him here and there, especially with the new tactic being Protect now, and him being a large champ, but also just depends on the fights, and I did have some use for him today. So now we're gonna jump on to part 4, which I was a little bit worried for because I haven't done it before, and also I haven't seen these placements before. Like literally I can't see the placements. Obviously I'm joking, they didn't place anyone on part 4. So we're gonna move up to this Havok with Steady Buildup Fury, Heavy Hitter, and Power Alternator. So a pretty standard Warlock fight. Done this fight so many times now, it's actually getting a bit ridiculous. I don't know why they keep on placing Havok here. It's either here or the node before here on part 5. The one with Ebb and Flow knockdown. But yeah, it feels like I'm fighting Havok in most of my wars on part 5. So I just go in and drop some basic combos, and he's playing very cooperatively, dropping a lot of light attacks, not doing a lot of heavies, so making the fight just go a lot faster and smoother. But yeah, either way, it's a very easy fight with Warlock. Only thing I need to watch out for is that heavy attack can't always be punished because of Heavy Hitter. And of course, Power Alternator, I just need to make sure that he can't steal my power and then I hit him when he has almost 3 bars of power. But either way, I mean, with War Power makes it a lot easier with Warlock, so I don't even have to worry about that much. I even try to see if I can punish the heavy attack if I just slightly delay it enough. But nope, I actually get hit there, but I wasn't really worried about it. It's very little damage anyway. Just a little experiment, so maybe I need to delay it slightly more. Hopefully he wouldn't dex it. But yeah, it's a little bit risky, although I'm not too worried because the risk is actually pretty small in this situation. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to this Hyperion with Power Focus 1, Mixmaster, and Aggression Prowess. So this is a pretty good matchup for Doom. The only thing I was a little bit somewhat concerned about is that my heavy crits can trigger protection. But otherwise it's not really a big deal because you just need to be able to intercept to remove it. And Doom doesn't have the highest crit rate, so he doesn't actually crit that much with the heavy attack. Unless you get really unlucky. Or rather lucky with crit RNG, which is unlucky in this case. So yeah, there's that protection of the heavy attack, but that was the only protection I triggered during the fight. So I actually did the vast majority of this fight with that reduced damage, but still it went pretty well. Didn't have much to worry about. I just played it pretty safe, you know, no special 3s. At least I tried not to throw special 3s. I think I just threw one just by accident. And just stick to special 1 and special 2 to control the fight and just deal consistent damage. So yeah, I mean, that heavy attack with Doom just makes the fight so much easier, makes pretty much any Hyperion a lot easier, because you can just stagger that power gain. And that just takes care of the main mechanic or ability that makes Hyperion annoying on defense. So yeah, Doom controls the fight pretty well. I didn't have anything to worry about. It's a pretty straightforward fight as long as you can stagger or nullify with the special 1. And he also has Power Focus 1, which means that he's not going to gain that much power from hitting you once he has 1 bar of power. So it's only really the power gain that really helps him gain more power. So this is where I accidentally used the special 3 just due to willpower, and I gained that power gain buff anyway, so I wasn't sure if I was going to get in the special 2 quickly enough. So I'm just going to throw a special 3 here, and fortunately these don't actually trigger Protect. So that does its full damage and no additional protections. So now I'm playing a little bit more passively because I want to hit him too hard, so I'm throwing more special 1s and light attacks. And just hoping I don't crit with the medium or heavy attack. So yeah, eventually the Fury does expire, then it's a little bit more safer. But yeah, still just throwing a lot of special 1s. And just being patient with this fight, you know, that's all you need to do is just take your time with it. No need to rush, there's plenty of time. Might not be the quickest fight, but it's a very safe and efficient fight in terms of health loss, so yeah, I'd rather just take it slow. And that was the one time that I did trigger the evade from Mixmaster by repeating my combo, or rather repeating that medium attack twice in a row. But yeah, it's at the end of the fight, and I actually knew I was going to trigger it there, so I wasn't really worried. Then basically at the end I triggered the next Protect buff, but he's basically done now, so I'm not really worried, just having a bit of fun with the special 1 spam. And yeah, he goes down. Okay, now moving on to section 2, I'm going to switch to part 2 for today's war because we are doing a boss rush once again. And now we have Colossus with E.M.P modification, enhanced energy attacks, rolling thunder, and burden of might. So another pretty good matchup for Doom. The only thing that makes it less good than a typical matchup is that Colossus is Incinerate immune. But otherwise he counters pretty much everything else in this fight. Can nullify his armor buffs, shock immune so no EMP damage, and just good power control. So he is a large champ, that's the only thing I need to be aware of, so I don't want to actually trigger the special 3 Fury. So once again I'm going to stick to special 2 and special 1, just playing it safe. And I'm realizing now that I actually did a lot of this during today's war. There were quite a few fights against large champs or extra large champs where I was using Doom. And he just works really well for it because he's got the power control to just manage the fight in general. And these are fights where I actually needed some power control or some immunity. Like here I needed shock immunity, and then I fought a Hulkbuster later on, which was pretty much the same. I needed shock immunity again. But yeah, as long as you don't use the special 3, Doom is generally safe for these protect fights. The only thing is when you do have class advantage, you can trigger it with the heavy attack. But that doesn't even happen that often because his crit rate just isn't that high. Okay, so back to Colossus. For this fight I was just trying to avoid triggering dexterity because there is burden of might, so when I do lose that buff then I will get power drained. So fortunately his animations make it very easy to avoid triggering dex. So usually I would only trigger dex before I'm gonna throw a special attack. Then I can just drop one hit and then throw the special 2 before the power drain actually applies. Then it's back to the cycle. And I actually do like the node burden of might most of the time because if you can play it right, you just gain more power in general. There are situations where it can be annoying, like in a fight where you need to dex a lot, especially if you want to get to that special 3 or even the special 2 sometimes. But for the most part I actually do quite like the node because if you can play around it, you know, reparry, hold block here and there with some good power control, then it can be quite advantageous because it's just extra combat power rate for you. Okay, so Colossus goes down, not too bad. Carrying on with section 2, part 2. Still haven't boosted because we have a couple more fights where we don't actually want to trigger protect ideally. And did I say part 2? Nope, I meant part 3 clearly. Actually, I thought I took part 2. I think that was the previous war, I just got them mixed up. So yeah, we're on part 3 now where we have Thor Ragnarok with Chitinous Thorns, enhanced armor up, and what? Boost buff armor up. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with part 3. And Chitinous, is that how you even pronounce that word? I don't know. I'm just gonna call it that for now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, hold up. Okay, I just googled it, so you do not need to correct me, but apparently it's chitinous, so I was very wrong. Kind of wish it was chitinous because it's just sillier, although chitinous is a lot easier to say. So that's gonna conclude our English lesson for today, and I'm gonna go back into this Alliance war fight, and we're using Warlock here. And I'm not even sure why. I was considering using Dr. Doom because he's got good power control. I just used Warlock because of the node, although he doesn't actually gain any buffs, so I didn't have to actually worry about the node. So the placement kind of confused me because I thought Thor doesn't gain any buffs at all, let alone armor buffs. So why would they place him here? And I was just like, why would they place him here? Is this a trap or is this just a bad placement? Maybe it's just because it's an easy node and they need 50 diversity, so might as well just plonk a rank 3 large defender here. At least that's what I thought, but I don't know. I'm no expert in part 3. I'm used to part 6, part 5, part 9, part 1. And yeah, that's about it. So this is another fight where I needed a little bit of patience when it comes to baiting those special attacks. Because, you know, you don't want to let Thor just gain power freely when he hits 20 and you can't throw a special attack to disable it. So you do want to make sure that your special attacks line up with these charges. And as long as you can do that, then yeah, it's a very easy fight. You can do this fight with literally any champ, I believe. Like literally any champ. If they have a special attack, they can be used for this fight. Except for those who have some really hard hitting attacks like big yellow numbers, you know, those who will trigger protect. I mean, you can still use them, you'll just have to intercept if they're not large or extra large. And ideally, you don't want to do that if you don't need to. So yeah, the Thor fight went pretty well with Warlock. Just need to throw one more special 2 and then he'll go down. And that was probably the easiest Thor Ragnarok I've ever fought on this map. I mean, you could remove all the local nodes except for the health node and the fight would be exactly the same. Alright, now moving on to my last fight in section 2. Still unboosted because these are pretty easy fights. Now we have a Magneto with explosive personality, heavy-handed and enhanced armor up. So my go-to counter for Magnetos in general is Human Torch, especially now that I have a rank 3 because he just shreds it so quickly. Because he does energy damage, it's basically like fighting a Mystic. But of course I didn't bring Torch today, I brought Hyperion instead, who also works pretty well for Magneto. And this is not the main fight I brought him for. I mainly brought him for the Korg in the next section with Stunning Reflection. But of course I needed a champ who can work on both of these fights, and my other two champs are metal, so not a very good idea. So I go in with Hype, and I just want to start with the parry heavy playstyle until I have 3 bars of power. Then I can throw a special 3 with a good amount of fury, so the damage should be decent from that. But I'm mainly using the special 3 to get the cosmic charges to increase my attack, and then just make the power gain more consistent. Then I can start spamming special 1s. Okay, now we have some charges and fury buffs, so we are radiating with cosmic masculinity. Bait that special 1, and that will be the only special attack he throws in this fight. Because now we're just gonna bully him. Let him come at us and then whoop, intercept special 1. And just control the fight like that. Just dash back, hold block here and there, let him come at you, backdash, intercept the special 1. So yeah, pretty quick fight, didn't even take a minute without boosts and the special 3 animation. So that is section 2 taken care of, and now we're gonna start applying some boosts for section 3. So I want to use a champion boost and then a lesser attack and lesser health boost. Now our first fight in this section, in this boss rush, is gonna be this rank 3 Korg with Stunning Reflection, Polka Dot Power, and Stun Vulnerability. And this is the main fight that I brought Hyperion for. I figured he would work well just because he is large and is generally a solid core counter. Might not be the best, but he works pretty well around those rock stacks. Also his playstyle just allows you to be able to avoid them most of the time with the special 1 and the power gain. Only thing is with Polka Dot Power, I'm not going to be getting as much power as I usually would, because I have to get those incinerates on him. Also, fortunately he's not very high sig, so the rock damage won't be too much. Still a bit annoying because he is rank 3, but at least I can drop a couple of medium attacks. Then I'm also going to apply an invulnerability boost just before I go in, and I was considering using heavy attacks in a maybe not too safe place, but yeah, that's why I kind of used that boost. But otherwise the fight shouldn't be too difficult, just gotta manage his rock armor and not hit him too much when he has it with the medium attacks. And this is where problems started in this war. Did you see that lag there, like the way the game just froze for a few seconds? But yeah, now I can drop the special 1, so I can incinerate him and then parry. Just gotta dex the special 1, then I can parry heavy for the furies. Nice, get 3 there, not bad at all. Then I'm gonna carry on hitting him, keep on dropping that rock armor, while I throw to the special 3 to get those cosmic charges once again. And I'm not too worried about the rock shield because it doesn't do that much damage. And I would much rather punish the special 1 after dexing it than try to find an opening where I can avoid triggering those rock thorns. Okay, so after the special 3 I need to bait a special 2, dex that, and I try to punish with a heavy attack, but the reach just wasn't there. So I do take a few hits, which is why I had the invulnerability boost. So I'm not gonna try that again. Really unnecessary for this fight. Just gonna stick to the game plan now, mostly rely on those special 1s. Because light intercepts are a lot more difficult or risky, and punishing his heavy with the light means taking more block damage. And he's going down quite steadily at this stage now that I have those cosmic charges, gain a bit more power and a bit more damage. I do throw in some parry heavies when I can, you know, when he's incinerated and doesn't have too much power. Now he throws an L2 and I try to punish it with the light attack, but it doesn't quite work out once again. So I just wait for that heavy attack, then I can bait that and punish with the medium. And I did have 2 bars of power, but I can't throw a special 2 because that does have a chance to stun. And of course I do not want that reflector on me, so I'm just gonna wait for the special 3. Which does a decent amount of damage, but now the fight got a little bit harder because I have a slower power gain now. So that special 1 spam won't be as spammable, I guess. Because now I have to actually wait for the power gain, and it actually is a long wait. As you can see, it's slowly creeping up. And I don't have any incinerates on them yet. Just gotta wait to apply those. Once they are applied, the power gain will be a lot faster. Okay, special 1, I get a bit more power gain and I can parry stun him. But he won't let me, he's just throwing his own special ones, which is okay. The fight's almost over at this stage and it's not that difficult to dex. So yeah, I just gotta keep smacking him. And he goes down, not too bad with the Hyperion. And I just can't wait for a 6-star version of this champ to be released. Gods, can you imagine how ferocious a rank 3 6-star Hyperion would be, because he's one of those champs who scales quite a lot based on the rank. But he will most likely be one of the last 6 stars to get released, probably just before Quake, because he's one of those older champs who are still very strong in today's game. Anyway, now we're gonna move up to Hulkbuster with the best defense, Spry, Brute Force, and Limber. So earlier in this video, remember when I mentioned something about being mad? Yeah, this is kind of where it started. So I go into the fight and it is loading, and it actually loaded for about 40 seconds, I kid you not. So I first had connection issues, which is bad enough, but it loaded, so it wasn't a big deal. And look at this here, look at how choppy it is right now. This just started happening out of the bloom, I don't know why or how, but yeah, I just had to deal with it in the middle of a war fight. So I'm like, okay, that wasn't too bad, didn't actually last that long, looks like we're back to normal now. Maybe that's it, maybe that's all I had to worry about. Just gonna carry on with the fight. Special 1 and Special 2 rotation, no Special 3s because protect once again. Then I throw a Special 2 and this happens. Game just freezes for 3 full seconds, and all I can do is carry on with the fight like nothing happened. Fortunately, I don't think it happened again during this fight. And the fight itself is not too difficult. Doom is a very good counter for it. I mean, being shock immune is probably the main thing, and then having some good buff control and power control just to make the fight a lot easier to handle, because he does get quite tanky with those armor buffs. Besides increasing his actual armor rating, they also increase his energy resistance and reduce your crit damage rating by quite a bit. And the main thing is they also lower your ability accuracy, so it's minus 20% offensive ability accuracy reduction for each armor buff, which can cause some problems. Like with Doom, you might not get the aura from the Special 1, then you won't go unblockable, and also you might fail to nullify your armor buff. So you just want to maintain that aura for a decent amount of time just so you can deal with these buffs so he doesn't gain too many of those armors. You can also remove them with crits, then they basically get converted into shock debuffs onto you. It's just that Doom doesn't have the highest crit rate, so I can't just rely on that. So yeah, this is a pretty good matchup for Doom. In fact, the only node I was a little bit wary of was the Limber node. That's why I was barely parrying throughout most of the fight, just trying to preserve those parry stuns. But now the fight is almost over and I can still parry a few more times before Limber actually catches up to me. He also gains buffs quite regularly, and I do have level 4 Mystic Dispersion, which helped me get some easy openings just from having more power. So it might not be the quickest fight, but that's mainly just due to protect. I had to sort of play it slow without those fury buffs. So I just need to drop a few more combos, but Limber has caught up. So I'm just gonna intercept a bit more. Not doing that much damage with these basic hits, but finally he goes down. Okay, so that one wasn't too bad. I had a few glitches or dropped frames or lag here and there, but didn't really last that long, didn't make much of a difference, and now I'm ready for the Apocalypse boss. So now I'm gonna apply some tech boosts, as I often do when I fight Apocalypse on the boss node. Gonna go with greater tech power and lesser tech special damage. And just heal him up as well. So I've fought Apocalypse with Warlock twice now. This is the 3rd time. And it's never gone wrong before. It's usually a pretty comfortable fight with the rank 3 Warlock. Just gotta keep on holding block, ending my combos early just to bait that heavy attack. Or that second medium. You know, just to get those easy openings. And manage the fight pretty well, because I don't want to bait the Special 1. Ideally, I want him to throw the Special 2 because I find it easier to dex. Although here I did not dex it because, I don't know, it just felt weird. Like my frames were just sort of a bit slow, and then there I drop a Special 2 and it hits his block. I don't know if I mistimed that or it's just the same lag issues I was having earlier. And of course he drops a 4-hit combo where every hit is a crit, which is pretty annoying. So now I'm a little bit concerned because my health is pretty low and the fight is still in its infancy. There's still a lot to go. So there I wasn't sure if that was just a device performance issue or it's just me being sloppy. Because there were moments where it felt like my inputs were delayed, but I also had some very visible issues. Like right here where the game decides to freeze for about 4 seconds. But I'm like, okay, I just need to bait the special 2 and dex it and I should be fine, you know. Fortunately, I can fully dex that pretty consistently, so the block damage shouldn't be too much of a problem as long as I can manage the fight pretty well. You know, drop those special 2s, get some good damage with those armor breaks. I would have preferred to throw a special 2 when he's already infected so the armor breaks apply before the special 2 actually connects. But I only got 2 bars of power just after the infection fall off, so I'm just gonna throw it now. Okay, so now I gotta bait another special 2 and nope, I just can't dex it for some reason. Yeah, we'll just say some reason, but at this stage I was pretty pissed off because I felt like this should have been a solo if my game wasn't acting up, because yeah, that was a very annoying fight. So I decided to quit the game, you know, reset my iPad, make sure that it's not overheating. It definitely wasn't, it was actually pretty cool. Then after restarting the game, I decided to do a few fights just to make sure that I'm not having the same performance issues as before. And it was running pretty smoothly, no issues whatsoever, not even long loading times. So yeah, I was like, okay, maybe now I can actually go into this fight. So I didn't want to take too long to go back in because then my boost would expire. And I'm also going to use an indestructible boost because I just don't trust the game anymore. So yeah, now we go back in and check this out here. This is unedited footage that you're seeing here. This is just raw gameplay that my iPad captured and it is terrible. The game's actually freezing this badly. It was actually so bad that my screen recorder couldn't quite keep up with the footage. So when I was doing the fights, it wasn't always freezing like you're seeing right now. Like there were actually a few more frames in between those longer freezes, but still it was pretty bad and borderline unplayable. Like, how do you play like this? Just tell me, you know, I can't even move right now. I'm just waiting for the game to respond so I can move my Warlock forward and back. And I don't even know if I'm intercepting or if I'm hitting him or if I'm parrying. Like, it's just chaos at this stage. And I was extremely frustrated at this point, especially because I tested it before this fight and it was working perfectly fine before. Then I go back into Alliance War, go into Apocalypse fight, and then boom, I have this crap again. And I'm just like, okay, what do I do about this now? Okay, this is not a good idea. Maybe I shouldn't have gone into the fight. But I did do some tests before this and it was working fine. Only to go back into the Apocalypse fight and experience the worst lag I've ever seen in my life. And honestly, this whole experience was just sickening. It felt like this fight had coronavirus. In fact, not even, because you can recover from that. This was more like full-blown AIDS. But yeah, I was extremely pissed off at this point because I'm just trying not to die. I'm trying my best not to die. But at the same time, I have very little control over the fight because I can't really time things properly. And I'm even more anxious because I've already died in this war. And I was looking at the stats, and if I were to die one more time, then there is no chance that we can win this war because they finished with 4 deaths in total, and we had 3 at the time. But the thing is, we still had a long way to go, so it was looking like we weren't gonna win this war just based on the stats. So at this point in the fight, the game was a little bit more stable than it was before, although that might not be saying much, but I do try to go for the special 2 decks here because my health is getting pretty low. And the very last hit decides to throw me some lag and I just can't dex that last part. So I'm gonna give up on the special 2 decks because that is just cruel, man. To make the last hit, the very last hit, be the one that screws you over, I mean, that's just uncalled for. So now I am gonna bait the special 1 since I can't dex any special attacks. So yeah, might as well just bait whatever I can. Try to stay in this fight, survive as long as I can, hope I can get him down. My health is very low right now, I'm in assassin range. He's at about 21%. I'm hoping I can get this, can't even say it's a solo anymore. I'm hoping I can get this attack bonus. So now my health is a little bit too low to block a special attack, so I try to dex one more special 2 and I just can't do it, you know. I feel like it's just impossible with the way the game is running right now. So yeah, I die again. Yeah, war is definitely lost now. I mean, even before this fight, it was very unlikely that we were gonna win. But still, I wanted to at least have a good war, and it was going pretty well throughout the war until we got to this last fight where everything just went to crap. But yeah, I guess today just really wasn't my day, and now I'm gonna finish off the fight with Doom. Only 9% left, so it shouldn't be a problem, but man, I just hope that this never happens again. Also, I forgot to mention that this Apocalypse did not have wall power, so I couldn't even rely on Warlock's infections to manage his power and just sort of prevent him from throwing those special attacks, which is something I don't usually worry about, but when the game is acting like it's running on a Nokia 3310, then it's a problem. So that's why I was pretty mad yesterday. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.